She didn't look like the face of a global cybercrime ring. When her photo made the news, people focused on her looks. They ignored the stolen millions and the banking malware. Blonde and blue-eyed, Kristina Svechinskaya looked like a model. She earned the title of the world's sexiest hacker. But behind the hype, there was a chilling truth. Kristina was more than just a pretty face. She was a digital middlewoman in a top banking Trojan operation. It was one of the most aggressive in modern cybercrime history. This operation used Zeus, a malware that drained US accounts with ruthless precision. While studying at university in New York, Russian cyber gangs recruited her. They used her as a money mule, part of a larger scheme stealing millions from unaware victims. Kristina opened fake bank accounts. She routed stolen money and helped launder funds with forged passports. When the FBI finally moved in, they caught her. But the damage was already done. This is not a story about glamour. It's about how a student-turned-hacker became the headline of a digital manhunt. This is the story of Kristina Svechinskaya. She had a significant impact on changing bank fraud forever with a Trojan powered by Zeus. Before Kristina Svechinskaya became famous, she was an international student. She was learning to adjust to life in America. She was born in Russia in 1989. Later, she came to New York on a student visa. She enrolled at New York University. Her goals looked very legitimate from the outside. She spoke English well and knew her tech. She looked like many Eastern European students chasing the American dream. While her classmates studied for exams, a darker world pulled Kristina in. Russian cybercriminal syndicates ruled this world, not professors. US banks faced a constant threat from a strong malware called Zeus. This Trojan horse infected computers. It logged keystrokes and allowed remote access to user accounts. Russian hackers were using Zeus a lot. They needed people in the US to help. These people had to open bank accounts, move stolen money, and cover up the evidence. Kristina was a perfect fit. She had a visa, spoke fluent English, and looked so ordinary. No bank teller would suspect her of laundering money for an international crime ring. By summer 2010, she reportedly opened several fake accounts. She also helped move almost $3 million from hacked US victims. She wasn't a coder or malware author, but she was a critical enabler in the operation. What started as a side hustle for easy money was spiraling into federal-level bank fraud, and the FBI was watching. To understand Kristina Svechinskaya's role, you have to understand the weapon, Zeus. Zbot, or Zeus, is not your typical malware. It's a banking Trojan made to attack financial systems. It can hijack online banking sessions and steal money without raising any alarms. Zeus was first found in 2007. It spread through Europe and the US in a matter of weeks by exploiting one weakness: human behavior. No firewall could fix that. Hackers didn't need to brute force bank servers. Instead, they tricked everyday users into clicking malicious links or downloading infected attachments. Once installed, Zeus embedded itself in the victim's browser and remained inactive. When a user logs into their online bank, Zeus grabs their login info. It also collects session cookies and two-factor authentication codes. Sometimes it can start fresh transfers right away. This makes it hard for victims to respond before they suffer harm. Russian-speaking cybercrime groups were behind this operation. They excelled at stealing large amounts through fast, small transactions. But they needed a way to withdraw the money without raising flags, and that's where Kristina came in. She was what the FBI called a money mule, but her involvement was more strategic than most. She wasn't just a pawn. She helped open fake accounts with forged passports. She laundered funds through US banks and collected cash withdrawals that led back to no one. The code was smart, but the people behind it were even smarter, and soon they would get bold. Behind every successful cyber attack is a web of real-life accomplices. Malware like Zeus worked in the dark corners of the internet, but it still needed human help to get things done. In 2010, a Russian cybercrime group known for using Zeus began a strong attack. They focused on small to mid-sized US businesses and schools. They used money mules to move funds instead of sending them straight to Russian accounts. This group featured foreign students and temp workers. For example, Kristina had access to American banks. Kristina wasn't alone. The FBI found over 30 people in the same Mule network in the US. Many, including her, held legal status in the country. They used student or work visas as cover. They needed to make fake identities. They set up several checking accounts. Then they collected transfers from victims affected by Zeus. The recipients withdrew or transferred funds in $10,000 chunks. They sent this money overseas and left very little behind. What set Kristina apart was not only the number of accounts she handled, but her eagerness to dig deeper. She used fake Russian passports to open fake bank accounts. She reportedly moved over $35,000 through her accounts before anyone noticed. According to federal investigators, she had ties to over $3 million in stolen funds. This wasn't simple cybercrime. It involved big digital laundering. More disposable money mules fueled this. But the situation was about to expose that army. By mid-2010, the digital footprints were piling up. Banks reported odd transfers. Victims noticed small amounts of money disappearing. Cybersecurity firms warned about a rise in Zeus-related fraud. The FBI's cyber division was conducting discreet surveillance of the operation. They worked with the US Secret Service and international partners. They weren't just hunting for the hackers. They also tracked the money trail. This path took them right to the money mules working in the US. Federal agents started finding mule accounts. They linked IP addresses, ATM withdrawals, and video footage to real individuals. In early September 2010, the FBI executed a coordinated sting across several states. Kristina was among those arrested. She had allegedly opened at least 5 fake accounts. Then, she moved thousands of dollars linked to cyber theft. Police arrested Kristina at her New York apartment. She faces charges of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and identity theft. Prosecutors said she and her partners stole over $3 million. They also planned to access up to $220 million more. But something strange happened after her arrest. Instead of focusing on the crime, the media zeroed in on Kristina's appearance. Headlines called her the sexiest hacker alive. News outlets focused on her court appearance. She wore a white blouse and tight jeans. Her casual confidence was rare for federal fraud suspects. A digital criminal, yes, but Kristina had just become something else, a media phenomenon. Kristina Svechinskaya's arrest quickly turned from a cybersecurity issue into a tabloid show. Media outlets worldwide focused on Kristina's appearance and attitude. They ignored the details of the Zeus malware and the multi-million-dollar theft. The press called her the world's sexiest hacker for a reason. She had piercing blue eyes, long blonde hair, and a stylish courtroom look. This label drew attention away from the seriousness of her crimes. TV interviews, magazine spreads, and internet headlines glamorized her story. Critics compared her to characters in Ocean's 11 and Catch Me If You Can. Even respected sources covered the story. One headline read, "From college girl to cyber queenpin." But underneath the glitz, law enforcement officials felt mounting frustration. This wasn't a movie plot, it was organized cybercrime, and Kristina took on a key role. The media's focus on her looks sparked a risky myth. Hacking could be stylish, rebellious, and even sexy. For many, Kristina's story became less about crime and more about celebrity. She didn't help things. She looked calm and collected in court, even smiling at cameras. Speculation mounted about whether she had more to hide or if she was just a pawn. But as the headlines burned hot, the legal reality was closing in. The FBI had the evidence, the banks wanted restitution, and Kristina was facing serious prison time. Would justice catch up with the image, or had the persona already overtaken the case? As the media buzz grew, Kristina Svechinskaya's legal team started their work in the shadows. She faced serious charges, conspiracy to commit bank fraud and identity theft. If convicted, she could spend up to 40 years in prison. But the prosecution had a bigger goal. They weren't just trying to make an example out of a money mule. They went after the larger Russian cybercrime group that made and used the Zeus Trojan. Kristina's case became a strategic opportunity. She wasn't the coder, and she hadn't masterminded the malware. She had access to the operational details, forged documents, and recruitment tactics. She recognized the significance of the people behind the scenes. The FBI needed leverage, and Kristina became a potential source. In a move that involved extensive negotiation, she accepted a plea bargain. Kristina didn't reveal everything. She told investigators about the Mule network. It has ties to offshore accounts. She avoided prison time. Instead, she got probation, financial penalties, and a criminal record. Critics divided their opinions. Some argued she got off easy because of her looks and media persona. Others believed that she justified the plea. Her role was serious, but she wasn't the architect. The outcome brought up a key question. Would the system have reacted the same if she hadn't looked good on camera? Kristina Svechinskaya had just walked away from a major cyber fraud case in US history. After her court appearances and plea deal, Kristina Svechinskaya dropped out of sight. She did so in an unusual way. Her name showed up in tech blogs, cybersecurity forums, and social media chats over the next few years. Not for new crimes, but for what she represented, the odd mix of cybercrime, beauty, and media buzz. For a short time, people saw Kristina as a symbol of glamorized hacking. She emerged as a digital anti-hero for those drawn to the underground realm of cyber exploits. Tech events in Russia asked her to speak. Rumors spread that she had started her own startup, but nothing solid came of it. Some thought she was trying to rebrand as a cybersecurity consultant. Others believe she just disappeared into a quiet life in Moscow or London. Regardless of where she went, her story stuck. Kristina showed how the media can twist justice. She revealed how law enforcement makes deals with smaller players. Also, a good story often hides the ugly truth. She wasn't a genius hacker or malware coder. She was a student who got caught up in a dangerous web and became the face of it. But her case left questions behind. How many more mules like her were still in operation, making no sound? How many walked free because they looked harmless or were never noticed at all? Kristina may have walked away, but the machine she helped power never stopped running. Kristina Svechinskaya's story turned into two tales, the myth and the machine. The media created the myth. They used catchy headlines, striking visuals, and tempting images of a sexy hacker fooling the system. It was cinematic, clickable, and easy to consume. The public found her to be a fascinating character, rather than viewing her as a criminal. Under the myth was a cold reality. Kristina was only a small part of a large global cybercrime system, in which that machine is still running. The Zeus malware didn't die with her arrest. It actually created several variants. It inspired other Trojan families such as Citadel, Game Over Zeus, and TrickBot. The networks using these tools became more advanced and harder to track. Money mule recruitment became more automated. Synthetic identities became harder to detect, and billions of dollars continued to vanish from banks across the globe. Kristina's case should have been a wake-up call. Instead, it became a pop culture blip. Most people remember the photos. Many forget the scam's technical details. The real victims were small businesses, retirees, and students. They discovered that someone had drained their bank accounts without warning. In cybersecurity, people still mention her as a key example of operational laundering. But to the public, she's more like a ghost in the algorithm, a reminder that cybercrime doesn't always wear a hoodie in the dark. Sometimes it walks into a courtroom wearing designer jeans and a soft smile. The malware changed, but the playbook, it stayed the same. Kristina Svechinskaya's story shows that cybercrime is about more than just tech skills or one person in charge. Sometimes it's about regular people. They get drawn into complex crime networks. They often fail to understand the extent of their involvement. Kristina wasn't the coder behind Zeus. She didn't invent the malware or write a single line of exploit code. But she played her role. She moved the money. She helped build trust in fake identities. And that's what made the operation work. Her arrest didn't end the story. It just revealed one layer of a much deeper cyber ecosystem. Today, many Kristinas work around the world. They don't know it, but they help ransomware groups, phishing rings, and darknet syndicates. These roles are non-technical and often driven by money. They are the weakest link in the digital chain. Kristina's case also teaches us how the media can distort accountability. Her trial became less about cybercrime and more about aesthetics. But behind every headline was a real victim, real money, real damage. The Zeus operation hit hundreds of accounts and stole millions. One money mule gained fame, but most got away. In the end, Kristina Svechinskaya's legacy isn't about glamour or infamy. It's a reminder that cybercrime doesn't always look like the movies. And if we're not careful, we'll miss the real threats hiding in plain sight. If this story gives you a fresh take on cybercrime, be sure to like, subscribe, and press the notification bell. Get set for more digital heists, secret leaks, and hacker stories, only on Cybercrime History. Until next time, stay safe, stay sharp, and don't click that suspicious link.